My foster home now, what I like about it is that they don't really, they follow the state regulations, but they don't just make everything out to be state. If the allowance for my little brother is like supposed to be $7 something a month, but they actually give him what everybody else gets. They treat everybody equal. And when I first got to my foster home, I have 2 foster brothers that I thought were foster kids. And then one day I asked my foster dad, I asked him if how long they've been living there, and he said all their life. And it was kind of shocking to me that they had foster kids that long, and then he said they're not foster kids. And then that's when I realized that they treat everybody fair.
A lot of positive things I've experienced since I've been in foster care is my sisters. I've never really had, siblings to go to and talk to about my problems. And my foster mother, I can come to her with any problems, and she will help me and work through it and be supportive of me and not give me negative feedback every time, which supports me a lot.
It would have been easier to build a relationship with their family if we start off on the right foot. On the right foot looks like to me would be, properly greeting them, telling them my name, a little bit about me. Don't give them a vibe of I'm just a guy coming into their home trying to ruin anything. The real family, mother, she was on drugs for a while and never was able to have me in her home. And father never knew who he was. I believe he's deceased now. Brothers and sisters, I grew up with them, but it was off and on. Like I was in so many placements, I really didn't have no stable relationship with my brothers and sisters. And grandmother and all the rest of my family, they were just in and out of my life.
Things I least like about foster care, that would be not being able to stay the night over my parents' house, even though that their rights have been terminated, and not being able to live with my sister.
What was positive about the placements that I was in was that they were out to help the kids. They weren't out to butcher them, pretty much just maintain them until adulthood. And what was bad, I guess, about them was that it was a lack of hearing and a lack of trust with the kid and the staff, with the workers and staff.
To be completely honest with you, I have not liked neither of the 12 foster homes I have lived in at all.
What didn't you like about them?
Everybody is just, it seems like they're in it for, the financial aspect of foster care. I never really got the feeling that none of my foster parents were doing it because they genuinely cared about the kids. It was just another source of income.
Well, then the next day when I went to school, I just decided not to come back. I did not get on the bus to come back home. I ran away. And I went over to my friend's house. I was over at her house for about a month. And she says, Anna, they came to the school looking for you. Am I gonna get in trouble? And what should I say? What should I do? And I said, I don't know what to do right now. I said, I need time. I said, if I go back, they're gonna take me back to them. And that was my fear. It was, I can't go back there. If I go there, he's gonna kill me. That was the biggest fear I had. And I kept telling her, and she just says, I can help you. And I didn't want to tell her anything. Well, one morning, she went to school. I guess she told the cops I was there. And they came over to her house, and they took me in. They took me to the police station. And we were there making a report. And then I kept asking him, am I going to go back to my dad's? He says no. Because when they arrested my father, they had taken pictures of me. So he says, you're not going to, but we don't have a place to put you right now. So we're going to take you to a, oh my goodness, what is that place called? I call it the juvenile jail. That's what I call it. Because even though I was there for one night, it was the scariest thing ever. I couldn't breathe nor scratch myself nor anything. I remember just sitting there crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a bad child, I came here and I'm being punished. I'm gonna be here forever. And I kept thinking, I'm just gonna tell him it's not my fault or whatever. And Well, they diagnosed me as suicidal because while I was there, I grabbed the bottle of Benadryl they had for the rest of the kids and I took it. So they say they thought I was suicidal and they took me to Timbrook. I was in Timbrook for about a couple months, not too long, just to kind of get a relief of myself. I mean, I saw kids in there that were 10 times worse than me. So kind of, it hit me there like, I don't want to be here. I'm a normal kid. I'm a normal child. I should not be here. And my state worker, she kept going, I got to meet her. And she says, you're not going to stay here. You're doing good. So we're going to put you in a foster home. And I didn't know what a foster home was. I really did not know. And then she says, it's going to be the place where you're going to live.
Well, the number of placements depends on how you want to count it. I've been to 2 shelter homes, 1 residential, 1 step-down program, and 1 foster home. So I guess 5 total, but 3 just counting the residential stay, the foster home, and then the step-down program. And I've been in care for 5 years. So.
The other foster homes I had weren't the same because, I don't know, they just didn't focus on me at all. Like, I didn't get no attention. I think every kid needs attention, being young, and I was pretty young then. And I really don't like living in a home that the parents don't treat you the same as their kids. I know it's their kids and they should treat them a little different, but when they push it too far and just, I don't know, the kid gets spoiled in front of you, it just makes you feel bad. And I just don't think it should be like that.
The hardest things about being in foster care is really not being able to be at home with my family and know everything that that I'm missing with my family and the cookouts and the just not being able to, I guess, conversate with them every day. And which foster care is really been experience for me. It's really helped me a lot with realizing the reality of life.
I was in about 2 or 3 state foster homes. And in addition to that, I lived with 2 or 3 different relatives and about 2 or 3 family friends.
For me and my brother and sister to be together, we could have been placed in another home together, or we could have all been 3 adopted together.
Obviously, I had to be assessed and everything like that to mentally assess it. So I went to a hospital at first, and after that, that's where I went to a group home. And after the group home, went on to Brookline, pretty much.
Well, as I said before, I've been in 12, so you never really feel comfortable moving around so much. It's pretty much it's just another home. It got to the point where I never unpacked my stuff because I felt like I'm gonna be leaving her soon anyway. So, I really wouldn't, it wasn't a home feeling. You never felt comfortable. I pretty much, I always stayed in my room because I didn't feel comfortable around the other kids. I didn't feel comfortable around my foster parents. With most of my foster parents, we rarely even talk. Our conversations really consisted of hi and bye, or what's for dinner, or just simple conversation, but we never really sat down and actually talked.
Then I see this older man coming and he had white snow hair. And he comes in and says, I'm your dad and we're gonna, you're gonna live with us. So I'm thinking, okay, this is new. And then I got to meet my foster sisters in there. So we were there. And it was pretty nice. I got, my foster mom, she is from Chicago and she speaks Spanish, so I felt like I was at home. And her house is neat and clean, and I felt like I was at home. And she's very lovable. She's very touchy, like she hugs you and kisses you all the time. And I guess that's what I needed. I mean, it felt good. But then we had our ups and downs, and I kept going back and forth to their house. So I kept going to different foster homes too. But I ended up staying with them. So they were my home foster home. And I lived there for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. They were there through my high school year, my graduation, prom, all that. We were there. They were all there. First day of college, my mom, since we lived like 45 minutes away from my college, it was all three of us, my sisters and me. She drove us all the way here and just sat outside, like outside the parking lot, just waiting for our first class to start. And we were like, oh my gosh, she really does care about us, you know? I mean, to her, we're her daughters. We're not her foster kids, we're her daughters. I mean, now I moved and I live like literally 2 minutes away from her house. My apartments are like literally down the road from her. And, you know, I go over there all the time. I just celebrated my birthday, so we were there with a big cake and a big silly hat thing, so.
My foster home it's a single parent home. And if you would have asked me like 3 years ago, I would have said, I hate this place. Like when I first got there, I just was not feeling it at all. Because I remember just that day I was going about my merry way at Rosehaven, and they just were like, back up your stuff, you're leaving. Okay, where am I going? We don't know. All right. And I got there, and it was in the part of town that I had no idea even existed. And it just was not happening. I seen a picture of the Pope sitting on a bookshelf. I was like, no, I can't do this. But, I mean, once we got through the initial, like, just feelings of discomfort, and I just did not want to be there. I mean, it's a home setting again. I've had terrible experiences with home settings. It's single parent home. My mom's single because my dad died. You know, birthdays are around the same. There's so many similarities there that I was literally afraid that I'm about ready to repeat exactly what I got away from. You know, and I think that's why I kind of built up a wall. But now I love it. You know, I've finally bonded with my foster mom, and everything's good, you know. I mean, to say that we're always happy to see each other would be a lie, and it would be unrealistic. I mean, that's just part of family dynamics, really. I mean, some days you don't want to look at your kid, you know. Some days your kid's like, oh my God, really? But as for like a healthy relationship, I think we do. We have a really good, healthy one. I think communication is one of the big things in our house. And since we all are very open with our communication, and it allows for people to naturally insert them in kind of like the structure of our family. And so our house really does kind of function as like a normal family, you know, whatever a normal family is. So.
My like the social worker had this goal of me getting adopted, but I never really wanted to be called somebody else's kid because I don't think my mom would like it. She would tell me she did, but I wouldn't want my kid when I get older to accept being part of somebody else's family like that. So I never really wanted to get adopted myself, and they pushed it on me, but I refused it for that reason. And my foster home now, they said it doesn't matter if I get adopted or I don't, they're still going to treat me the same. So I figured out I don't really need to get adopted to be part of it.
Yes, I go on home visits from Fridays to Sunday every weekend, and so that really helps me a lot too, that my home visits, yeah. Because of me being in foster care and him living with my grandma, it's kind of like let me put a force between me and him. Like it seems like everybody tries to separate me and my brother because I don't know why really, but I guess they just don't want us to be together. But I haven't seen my brother in like 6 months, and that hurts me a lot because my brother used to be like my best friend. Like me and him went through the same things, and that was the only person I could talk to about it. So I have, my brother, but we don't get to see each other at all.
For the most part, I was often placed by myself. They would either be permitted to stay with a relative. There were times when it was just myself that was removed from the home. So for whatever reason, the social worker deemed that appropriate. So there were times when we were together, in particular when we were with relatives. But for the most part, as far as foster care placements, I would be the only one that was removed.